I'm Vivian Yor.
I'm Sierra Baker.
I'm Olivia Clark.
I'm Logan Baker.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Welcome to Spiked Up.
Hey there, Colorado Track and Field fans. Welcome to Spiked Up State Edition. We're here day 3 at Jeffco Stadium. As always, here with Andrew Simmons. Before we get rolling, shout out to the sponsors, Naiwan Market. All right, so we had a lot going on today. I mean, there were state champions in every event. Plenty to talk about, but we're just going to hit up the highlights so we're not here before this storm rolls in. So let's get rolling here with the recap, starting 5A 1600s.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had some listeners last night.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about Bryce Weeks' race going out and just trying to kind of charge, and kind of saw that in both with Benji going out really hard, but then also that 5A girls race went out really nuts. And I think that's a great strategy to use when you're trying to kind of eliminate it from being a kicker's race, but it's dangerous. And dangerous is what happened. If you want to share a little more.
Yeah, so actually, starting with the boys, Benji Anderson he went after it. I mean, he was running 61-second clips there for several laps, and he looked good doing it too. But, you've got 151 half-miler Ben Lee lurking in the pack. I mean, Ben Lee just kind of proved that, he's got probably one of the most dangerous kicks here in Colorado, save for maybe one other person I can think of. But, Ben Lee made up so much ground in that last 200, 250 or so. And, he's a junior, like we mentioned yesterday. He won state in the 8, wins state in the 16, obviously. He's becoming one of the main mid-distance guys here in Colorado. And then likewise on the girls' side, what was super exciting was Emily Cohen. I think I mentioned this yesterday, how she's always been kind of right there. And then yesterday in the 2 miles, she finally stepped up, finally won a state title. And then here she comes back and she does it in the 16. And what was so funny was yesterday she told me, she's like, I don't have the strongest kick. She won with a kick yesterday. She wins with a kick here today in another super tight race. Right now, when we look at the girls' landscape in 5A, she's coming back next year.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's run herself into the conversation of who's going to be that dominant alpha on the course during the cross, and I mean she had a great 2 days here. Moving along to the sprints, Kiana Cummings swept the 2 and the 4. We talked about it in the podcast, and what I thought was one of the most unique things, and I did ask her about this, but she didn't even start with blocks in the 400. And when I asked her about it, she was like, when I cracked 54 a couple weeks ago, I didn't run with blocks, and it just felt easier, more comfortable for me. And when I've asked her this too, I was like, what's it like? Everyone around you has blocks, and you're standing up like you're going to run an 800. And she just laughed and was like, I felt like it allowed me to work into the 400, because the 400 is one of those races where people tend to go out too hard, and then that last 100 meters they've got a bear on the back. But I thought that was super impressive of a sweep, and particularly how fast she ran. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just watching that, and never know when those things happen. Is it because it's more comfortable, from an injury standpoint? We're at the end of the season. Was that something that was at play? It wasn't. It's just about comfort, and I think that's when you can really see that athletes know themselves. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the comfort side of things, it was really cool because we were kind of more on the behind us, over on that backside, and we were able to watch the 5A boys pole vault, and just kind of kept hearing it creep up little by little by little, and to see, I think it went 16.9 if I have my numbers right. Yeah, that was Taylor Waters that we have here, and so that was super exciting. And then from there,
add to that.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. It was also exciting to see him not only clear 16.9, but he moved up the bar to 17 feet.
Yep.
He had 3 solid attempts. Actually, and I think the second to last attempt, he was well over 17 feet, but it was just kind of more of just the coming down. His body kind of slipped it. Yep. But knowing, if I were him, I'd be super confident going forward, because he was well over the bar at 17 feet. That was just exciting to watch. So moving forward,
Yeah. Next thing we got up here is 3A. Bobby Key sweater swept, got the Triple Crown. And not our only sweep that we saw. I think this kind of now starts a theme that you guys will hear throughout the rest of the pod today. Sweep, sweep, sweep. They're not janitors, but Bobby went out there 4:17 to kind of finish things out with a final mile. He won the 32 Thursday and then the 8 last night, and then came back today to turn around that 16 and 4:17 dominant fashion. So how cool was that?
Yeah, I thought what was super exciting with that race was just number one, how he ran it. I mean, he knew what he was going to go out there and do, but running a 4:17 in the 16 in your third race, specifically when you've run the 32 and the 800, that gets in your legs. So seeing him run 4:17 was super impressive, and he obviously had a lot of energy at the end of that too.
No kidding.
But what's exciting for him is here's a name that we could I feel like he's only got more improvement in front of him. So it's just anytime you sweep, that's nothing easy to do.
Keeping in theme here.
Yeah. On the theme of sweeps, looking at 4A, Reese Casper swept the hurdles. That's another one we talked about in reference to how dominant she's been. What was incredibly impressive in my perspective was 41:35 in the 300 hurdles. That's the fastest time running Colorado this season, and that's after all the rounds.
Yeah.
And she even mentioned this too. She was like, I actually just started the hurdles last year, so that's kind of a technical event, and so seeing someone get that good that fast, and then again like running their fastest in the 300 finals after all the rounds for the 100 hurdles, and I know she did a handful of relays as well. Clearly she's got the strength to do it, and it was just an impressive performance for her state performance all around.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think, as you said, it's a super technical event, and super excited that because she has more time with it, like she's still on that learning curve, which is huge. I think on the learning curve side of things, Rocco Culpepper figured some things out. Trademark kick there at the end, and then also teammate Addie Ritzenheim, going right to the front. They swept in the 16. So again, like keeping with that theme, like kind of don't want to say to be expected, but like it's kind of become the thing to know.
Yeah, I kind of felt that both those races sort of went to script, specifically with Rocco kicking like crazy at the bell. It felt like a dozen guys still in the race. I mean, that was a very deep 4A field. And I talked to him afterwards, and I'm like, talk to me about this kick, because obviously I know he likes to sit around and then like just unleash like crazy in the last 200. He even said, he's like, probably like around lap 3, I start positioning, I start thinking about where I need to go, or just in case someone else does something. He's like, but I like to kick last. He's like, I don't want to lead the race until I absolutely have to, which is why he always saves it for the end. And so yeah, kind of a trademark kick coming out of him. That was sort of to be expected. Likewise, girls, with Addie, she just jumped from the gun. She was out front, pops a 4:47 solo. I did talk to her afterwards too, and she's looking at Brooks and I think Nike Outdoor Nationals in June. And when I talked to her about fitness, she was like, so not exactly peaking here, because it's state meet. She's like, if I can run well here, that's great, but I'm obviously looking at June, and I know she's going to run a lot faster in that 16 and the 32 particularly. The 32 at Brooks is supposed to be pretty wild, so that's going to be exciting for her moving forward. Looking at 1A in the sprints, kind of again sticking with themes here in terms of sweeps and to be expected. Roxy Unruh, 1, 2, 4, and she actually sets a 2A meet record, or 1A meet record, in the 2 and the 4. I believe her 400 was right around 56 seconds, which is just insanely impressive. But she did this last year. She's a junior this year. She sweeps it again. That means next year, does she take it all again? Just another, again, kind of like everyone else, impressive performance at the meet here.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that, Parker, we're going to try to get the last name. Parker Arbuthnot, I think is the name. Swept the distance events, and he comes back next year too. So really exciting to see is, hey, we're going to stack that up again in those distance events. So I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes on trying to maybe interrupt what's happening there, and that's it's always what makes this exciting. And man, to end day 3 here, like it has been 3 really long days. I think Bobby and I are both due for a couple solid days of rest. I've got some editing. You've got some editing to do. I know Jen, if you guys don't follow Jen, please go follow her. In Motion Photo by Jen on Instagram.
Got the great photos.
Phenomenal photos. I know Bobby's been putting in the work. Shout out Niwot Market also. I got to go check out this mythical salsa here. But also, I have to put it out here because if I don't do it, I heard Fossil Ridge won the 5A girls.
Yes.
You know exactly where this is going, don't you? There's a chocolate milk mile I heard that's coming up. And so I think I've got to put you out there that And I'll up the ante here. Could we see Timnath there? Could we see Fort Collins there? Could this be like the Tri-City Milk Mile? Who is the top of the milk heap here? Yep. And I don't know, Niwot Market, if you're listening, maybe throw some milk towards this guy. I don't know, right? He needs the milk money. We're all good for it. So Bobby, what do you think?
Okay, so yeah, even more on that. Now we're going down this road. I believe it's Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. I will try to get more information on this, but yeah, there's an epic milk mile going down by Falls Ridge. So they're not only going to be celebrating an overall team title here on the girls' side, but I guess they'll be celebrating with milk on Wednesday. I hear there's a lot of vomit. It sounds like a great time by all. So tune in. I mean, we'll see you out coverage with that one, but you know, great 3 days here. For the most part, the weather held out, maybe until about now. I am seeing a little bit of lightning way off in the distance, but we're on the 4x4s, closing out here. Any last thoughts?
I mean, how nuts is everything getting in Colorado track and field? Like, just we're seeing, I mean, it wasn't just like meet records that went down, but like go through the list. It's PRs. Like, the training has gotten better. Like, the teams have gotten better. Like, I've just loved watching it. It's such a special thing. You know, I posted on my Instagram this morning, like, it's all about the emotions. And like, that's what I love to see is like, how long have these teams been thinking about the 4x4,
yep.
right? How long have they been thinking about those individual events and just coming out here? Because I know some of these kids in smaller schools, they may not get to see their competition until this weekend, yep. right? And so being out here, there's that mystery that comes with it, and like how gratifying it is to be here, but also like track isn't done.
Yeah.
Like it isn't done. Just like you mentioned with Addie, we've got Nike Outdoor, we've got Brooks, we've got Festival of Miles. Like it feels like we've got a whole nother season yep. left to go. We got a month left in track, and like Colorado is there.
Yeah. So yeah, on that note, just because the regular season is ending here in Colorado, Spiked Up is sticking around. We will be covering postseason competition as well as NCAA professional. We're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff in the coming summer here. So there's definitely still reason to tune in. But backtracking one time to what you mentioned about the emotion here, one performance I did want to single out, and I thought about this after the fact, was 3A 1600 with Delaney Reuter. You know, we talked about that 3A 3200 meter yesterday where she runs 8 laps, dominates the field, technically wins the state title, but was EQ'd for stepping in a little early. She comes back today in the 1600 and jumps to the front with about 800 meters to go and just hammers, and finally got that state title. I talked to her afterwards. I was like, 3 races, you finally get the state title on the end of it. Like, and she did mention, like there was a little bit of fuel in her stride because of that, of what happened in the 32 yesterday. So I was kind of really excited that she did win that 16 today after winning the 32 technically yesterday. That was just kind of, one of those like heartfelt moments where you're kind of like wanting someone to get what they deserve, and I really felt like she deserved it. Not that anyone else didn't, but I'm just saying, given what she had to endure and kind of rebound from, I thought that was just really cool. I like seeing athletes kind of overcome a little bit of adversity, and I think that's exactly what she did.
Absolutely.
All right, so wrapping up here, one more shout out to Niwot Market and their salsa. Maybe their milk. We'll see. Thanks for everyone who tuned in to Spiked Up, and we're going to get out of here before it starts pouring on us. Congratulations to all the state champions. Enjoy binge eating on bad food.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, as always, I'll see you on the track.
Doing it all for you, my Louis.